Well, the numbers are in, and we know exactly what killed the most human beings in the year 2021. And I'll tell you this, it certainly wasn't from COVID. Hey everybody, welcome to Current Disclosure for Sunday, February 6th, 2022. I am your host, Jason Work. This podcast is dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of the truth. Hashtag unfilter the truth. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. We are found at all your favorite podcast providers. And you can find me on social media on Parler, Getter, and CloudHub at JasonWork. The email address is jason@currentdisclosure.com. And the website is currentdisclosure.com. Yes, we got a website, a home presence. You can check out all the latest news. Many of the things we talk about here on the program and also on my social media profiles. Listen, we're admittedly going to be all over the map today. Usually I'll start with, 2 or 3 main big stories. And of course, we will cover some big stories that are breaking this weekend. But I'm also going to go back and look at some things that we haven't talked about yet, but are still very current in the news today. So we're going to get to all of those and a whole lot more. I'm going to try to cover as many stories as possible. But let's start with this, what I started the program with. This is from Breitbart, actually from January 2022. This is, at the end of the year, all the news websites, news magazines, they come out with the famous lists of the previous year, right? Hollywood does it, the top 20 blockbusters of 2021 and so on and so forth. And of course, my love for lists. Now, I'm going to give you a warning because this list is very grim. It's very grim. It's the list of the leading global cause of death in 2021. Again, this is from Breitbart.com. And with all the hype surrounding COVID and all the rest, you would think that COVID would have been, we're supposedly in a global pandemic, right? Well, guess what? The number one leading cause of death in 2021 was abortion. Number one. 43 million killed. Abortion leading global cause of death in 2021 with 43 million killed from Breitbart.com. According to data provided by Worldometer. As of noon on December 31st, 2021, there were 42.6 million abortions performed in the course of the year. While 8.2 million died from cancer, 5 million from smoking, 1.7 million from HIV/AIDS, 1.3 million from traffic fatalities, and 1 million from suicide. Totaling all the deaths in the world from causes other than abortion reveals a figure of 58.7 million, meaning that abortions accounted for just over 42% of all human deaths in 2021. I'm going to say it again. Totaling all the deaths in the entire world from causes other than abortion reveals a figure of 58.7, meaning 15.7 million, meaning that abortions accounted for just over 42% of all human deaths in 2021. By comparison, because I know you're wondering, I know you want to know, what about COVID? This global pandemic. By comparison, worldwide deaths from coronavirus in 2021 totaled, are you ready? 3.5 million. according to the World Health Organization. 3.5 million. That is we lost more people from smoking. 5 million died from smoking in 2021. 8.2 million died from cancer. We had a little less than a third, 1.3 million from traffic fatalities. 3.5 million people died from coronavirus worldwide. But that necessitates the need for global lockdowns and a massive rollout of experimental spike protein gene therapy injections? Where's all the panic about all these other causes of death? Worldometer, voted one of the best free reference websites by the American Library Association, keeps a running tally through the year of major world statistics, including population, births, deaths, automobiles produced, books published, and CO2 emissions. It also registers the total number of abortions performed worldwide based on the latest statistics on abortions published by the World Health Organization. Seasonal flu deaths, 494,789. Let's see, what else do we have here? Deaths caused by malaria, 393,955. I don't know how they do this. They keep track of the number of cigarettes that were smoked. Today, now this article, over a month old, but when this article was published, they've got statistics on everything. Over 10 billion cigarettes, on average, are smoked in a single day. Deaths caused by alcohol, 2.4 million. Money spent on illegal drugs this year. Let's see. Looks like $399 billion. That's insane. Road traffic accident fatalities this year, almost 1.4 million. And the list goes on. You can check out that. The whole point of this, though, is why isn't this covered in the news? We get tallies of numbers of dead from COVID. But nobody ever talks about abortion, of course, because that is a woman's right to choose. Never mind, it killed 43 million people globally in just one single year and accounted for, 42% of all human deaths in 2021. Now, another reason I point this out, is it any wonder that we see so much of the chaos in our world today? The insanity, the absurdity, widespread crime, widespread sex trafficking, the devolution of the culture. And I got to say, it's hard to say. Of course, we do pray for God's blessing, but how can you say God bless America? God bless the 43 million babies that we slaughtered this year. God be with us. When this is at literally the top of the heap of what is wrong with this country. And then you've got Looney Tune states like the one I'm living in right now, currently in California, because there's been a lot of talk that the Supreme Court could overturn Roe versus Wade. But you've got this Looney Tune state saying that California would become an abortion sanctuary if the Supreme Court should overturn Roe versus Wade. Because you've seen the massive change in the state of Texas because of the fetal heartbeat law. About 6 weeks, you get a heartbeat. You cannot do an abortion in Texas. And they keep stats for that. Already over 15,000 babies have been saved. Just from, yes, Texas is a large state. but massive impact. And so, other states, blue states, scrambling, running for cover. Oh my goodness! If the Supreme Court should overturn this, we will become an abortion sanctuary state. How disgusting! How sick is that? All right, I want to get to this now. Last week we talked about the freedom convoys, the truckers in Canada, protesting the COVID vaccine mandates. And of course, you got Trudeau over there running for cover, hiding under the table, coming out and saying he has tested positive for COVID. And he said, these Canadian truckers, they don't represent what most normal Canadians think and believe, and, totally misrepresenting them. So I wanted to play this audio clip because, there are people out on the street asking legitimate questions, actual journalists, and saying, hey, what are you guys doing here? What's the purpose? And I want to give this, of course, its due needed attention. We'd love to see this spread to other parts of the world. I know that in Europe and Australia, there have been talk about doing similar things, truckers' freedom convoys. And, of course, now you've got Canada, Canadian government threatening to use the military to intervene against the truckers. But I wanted to play this soundbite. Freedom Convoy supporters. This is from, the audio is from Breitbart.com.
Tell me why you're here.
Well, the big reason why we're here is, basically fed up, and we want to be heard, and we want to have a voice. And I don't know, the whole freedom end of things. We're at home wondering what's going on and what we can do. And we just jumped in the truck, and here we are. We joined the convoy and drove on in.
Okay, Mark, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Mark, what's at stake here? What are you folks seeking to protect or defend?
Freedoms for our kids. If we don't fight for our freedoms now, our kids will have no freedoms to fight for later.
Okay, Mark, give me your remarks or your observations or concerns about what I call the COVID-19 enterprise.
Oh, that's a tough one. Where do you start with that? Honestly, it's you show our right to choose. If we want to get vaccinated, let us get vaccinated. If we don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. It's hard to find the right narrative on who's really telling the truth. There's scientific studies on all kinds of stuff, but are they studying everything? There could be things that they're not fully disclosing to us to give us the real deal.
There you go. Did you hear what he said there? Things that they are not fully disclosing to us. And that's why we're here. That's why this program is here, for current full disclosure. To tell you what most of the state-run corporate-owned media isn't telling you. And, Canadians are known to be some of the most polite people. And it takes a while to get them riled, but good for them. They're doing something. They're making a statement. And it's drawing global attention, these truckers in the Freedom Convoy. So I hope they continue to stand strong. And, of course, as we mentioned last week, they'll try to do some kind of false flag thing here and try to make the truckers look bad, just like they tried to make Trump protesters look bad with the whole fake January 6th armed siege of the Capitol and all of that. That's still very much in the news. And, of course, they don't want to let that fade away. They want that to continue to be front and center, that Trump supporters are a bunch of domestic terrorists, and so on and so forth. Now, getting back to California for a moment, I saw this come out, I believe, yesterday or Friday. This is from the local news here, KSBW8.com. This caught me off guard. This surprised me. New California bill would hold hotels, motels accountable for trafficking. This is from February 4th. Now, I read the headline a couple of times to myself, and I thought, how can this be? Is this article current? This has got to be an old article. No, this just came out. This bill is a new California bill, would hold hotels, motels accountable for sex trafficking. Of course, they don't put the word sex in the headline. That might be too taboo. My immediate first question is, why is this just coming out? A brand new bill in California. Second question is, are you telling